From the creators of Relevant Magazine, this is the Relevant Podcast.
It is Tuesday, October 29, 2019, and it's the Relevant Podcast. I'm your host, Tyler Huckabee. I'm coming at you from Paris, France for just a little bit longer here. It's about time for me to head back home stateside, where I will be joining all my friends back home, including our illustrious producer over there in the studio in Orlando, Florida, Chandler Strang.
Hello.
Also there in the studio, right next to him, monitoring him, keeping an eye on him, is my friend, John David Harris. Hey, JD.
Greetings. Sorry, I got distracted there. I was making
legally required not to allow him to leave his site.
Yeah. He's got the little backpack leash like you see at Disney World sometimes.
The little monkey shaped one.
The ethically questionable backpack leash.
Yeah, the very strange. We can come back to that. I've got a lot of problems with that. You see, especially when I saw a kid tied up at Disney World, like outside of the bathrooms while his parents were in there, and that feels like it crosses a line.
Well,
I get the impulse.
We've
all been there, but
I feel like that definitely steps over it.
There's a Portlandia episode.
Pins. They should just have like little waiting areas for kids to kind of not escape from at Disney.
To lock them up. Like literally put them in a holding like a detainment
center?
No,
it'd be like a little playground. It'd be like a little playground where they can't escape. It's more ethical than those leashes, those backpack leashes.
It probably is more ethical than the backpack leashes. Although I'm not sure there's any real, but the cat's out of the bag already, I suppose. We're also joined today by over there in Loveland, Virginia, Jesse Carey.
Hello. It's guys. Jesse, it's Halloween. It's Halloween.
It is. This is our spooktacular episode of Halloween, a spooky edition of Halloween. How are we feeling? Has the Halloween spirit landed there?
My neighborhood goes all out for Halloween. I mean, it starts at like 3:00 in the afternoon. Everyone comes out in the front lawns and, it's a big hangout sesh before dark for the adults. Yeah. I mean, people are already gearing up. There's like a neighborhood email list going around of who's buying what, who's providing what for the big afternoon. I can't wait. Well, guys, have you this is the important question. Have you guys chosen your costumes yet?
I actually have. I've got my costume and I've started putting it together. I don't have everything I need yet, but I'm almost there.
What is it? Because you have the burden, Tyler, of not only like finding a cool costume, because from what I understand, there aren't a lot of places in the world that take Halloween as seriously as we do here in the States. We take our pagan rituals very, very seriously.
Obviously, here in France, the church still wields a lot of power. So Halloween is sort of under the thumb of big Catholicism over here. We can't really get away with very much.
But not only do you have to translate the enthusiasm of Halloween, you have to make sure whatever pop culture reference your costume is making is going to translate internationally. So I'm assuming you've gone large baguette this year.
Or like a hunchback. Are you a hunchback?
the Quasimodo.
Yeah.
The only two costumes permitted in France legally are a talking baguette with a little face cut out, or else Quasimodo, or any of the characters from the Hunchback of Notre Dame, the Disney version,
right.
Not the original
Only the
book.
Disney one. Yeah.
Yeah. So what are you going with?
I don't think I didn't think that you can't do you can't do Nancy Pelosi over here. You can't do some of the funny jokes that people, or even something like I have some friends who are going dressed up as characters from Queer Eye or something like that. Like that's not gonna fly. I don't know if how those guys travel international or not. Yeah. So I'm going for who I thought would be a pretty good. I thought this character would have some cred over here. I've got about the right length of hair at the moment to make this all work. I'm going to try and go as Megan Rapinoe, the beloved star of the U.S. soccer team who won the World Cup.
Oh, I'm sure people over there will just love that.
Yeah.
I'm sure
just rubbing
an American just
stomping on their face.
just flexing at the sport they care about. I'm sure
Right.
that's like if American won the handball. Like I have some neighbors. I have three neighbors. Like I think I've said this on the podcast. I live in a very international neighborhood. We live close to a large military base that is a NATO.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
And so a lot of like diplomats from overseas come and live in this neighborhood for a few years. And so several of my neighbors are French. And I was talking to one of them the other day about, we're just trying to find common ground with sports because we're shooting hoops out in the cul-de-sac hoop.
Yeah.
And, they said that, basketball isn't big, but there are two big sports over there, two huge sports they go crazy for. One is obviously soccer. Two is handball. I don't even know what handball is. Like, I could see people. You could show me. You could show me
like racquetball without rackets?
I used to host a sports podcast. Okay, like I consume a lot of sports. If you had on a screen 3 different sports, one of them that you just made up, and you said which one is an actual game of handball, I don't know that I could do it. Is it like tennis with your hands? Is it like racquetball with your hands? Is it like a dodgeball thing? Is it? Are you
maybe
running?
You're swatting the ball? You're thinking like over. There's maybe there could
I
be
don't
a net.
know.
Is it like
I don't
you could
know.
be swatting?
Remember that game in middle school, Butts Up, where you had to like throw the ball at the wall, and if you didn't catch it, they got to like throw a ball at you.
Yeah, we called it in my part of the country, we called it wall ball.
Yeah.
And you would throw a ball at a
wall ball.
Oh,
Yeah,
well.
I had wall ball.
And we played a variation of wall ball. I mean, this is pretty sadistic. We played a variation of wall ball where we established beforehand, are you playing Bloody Bones or not? Are you playing the Bloody Bones version or are you playing straight up wall ball? Because in straight up wall ball, if the ball comes off the wall and
if you were, what was going on?
Especially if you're playing with like a golf ball or something and you miss it, then you are out of the game. Last person standing wins the game. If you're playing Bloody Bones, you have the opportunity to stay in the game, but you have to go stand at the wall with your limbs spread out, and the person who threw the ball at the wall that got you out gets to throw it as hard as they can and try to hit you as you're standing there helplessly. Ow. But if they hit you, you get to stay in the game.
Did you say a golf ball?
We occasionally play with a golf ball, and that's when the stakes have never been higher. Wow. To be fair,
you called it Bloody Bones is a very visceral. It's apropos for our spooktacular episode of the Relevant podcast,
kids
but it also sounds
weird.
Very morbid.
Kids near me we would also not only, I think I just lived in a particularly, like, it wasn't like a rough neighborhood in the sense of like crime. It was just in the sense that it was like physically kids like doing very rough things. Like, not only would we make the janky ramps to try to jump, we would make 2 janky ramps facing each other and joust midair, just horrific broken bones. we would play demolition derby on bikes. And we're literally, the point of it is just to ride as fast as you can and ram someone. Yeah. So I'm glad kids are gotten more sophisticated. But anyway, I don't know what's big in France. All that to say is if I was in France, I would go as an American handball player, even though I have no idea what the uniform is. And I don't even know what the game itself is,
Jesse, you showed me some of the props from your intended costume a week or so ago that you were throwing together. Are you going to reveal on the podcast what you're going to be using?
We are going as the Avengers family. And so Noah has, my son, who is 6, he's right in like Avengers prime time zone, where it's basically the coolest thing on the planet, So he has chosen, he will be Spider-Man. My daughter, who is 3, she will be Captain Marvel. My wife will be Black Widow. And I petition to be Fat Thor. I really wanted to be Thor from Endgame, where he's like in the Lebowski robe,
packed on a few pounds,
and he's wearing like flannel pants, and he has a beverage in hand, and I would still have like his hammer or whatever, but I thought it would be funnier to be Thor from Endgame, but my son vetoed, so now I have to be Thor from Ragnarok. Because that's the one.
Are you going to get in Thor shape? Do you have to start? Because he's a real athlete.
I have 2 days to get in Thor shape. So it will start after this podcast because I'm eating M&Ms as we talk. JD, what are you going as? An American handball player?
Yeah, no, I actually suffer when it comes to Halloween in particular. I suffer from like decision atrophy quite a bit.
Sure.
So unless I get a really good idea like a month ago and have the time to actually dedicate to make a real legit costume, my philosophy is either I'm going to be the best costume in the neighborhood or I'm just not going as anything at all. And I couldn't figure one out. I couldn't do it. And like, I don't know, when October hit, I just wasn't in the mood.
No worries.
And it just,
no worries.
Go as French handball legend Pepe Pierre.
Yeah.
And then like French people come up to you and they're like, dude, you look nothing like Pepe Pierre.
It's not too late for you to go as I always thought it was a real flex. They do this in the TV and like the Halloween episodes of sitcoms a lot, where the one character who's kind of like a little too cool for it, but still comes up with a really easy costume. Like Jim in The Office did like 3-hole punch Jim or whatever, where it was very minimal effort for a kind of like a groaner joke, but it's still played. It still worked.
Yeah.
Well,
I think you can still find that. I don't know what it'd be, but you could still find that.
It's also 92 degrees here right now in Florida. Yeah. So like Halloween, when it's 90 degrees outside, it's just not fun. Like you got to have something that you're going to walk around all sweaty and gross. Cause I got to take my kids
character with shorts would be ideal.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. It's just, I don't know. I'll probably just be the dad. I'll just be the dad of the two kids dressed up as stuff. But.
Did the kids have anything?
Yeah, so Asher, my eldest, who's 5, is obsessed with sports, which is funny because my wife and I are not obsessed with sports.
Particularly, weirdly, handball and the French national handball team. He loves them. He loves them.
Yeah, we have to pay for the extra upgraded cable package so that he can follow his favorite team, the Trinidadian Handers or something. I don't know.
Oh, they're huge. They're huge over here.
Huge. So anywho, no,
they're like the Beatles there.
Like a month ago, we started priming the question, like, do you know what you want to be? Like, have you thought about stuff? We're thinking he's going to answer something like Mario or... Super Wings, those other like random kid references. And instead he's like, I want to be Jalen Hurts, the quarterback for the Oklahoma Sooners.
Well, that's easy enough, though.
Okay. Yeah. So
that's a helmet.
Yeah, we went out and
some shoulder pads.
Amazoned Oklahoma outfit, and he was very specific that he needed to be that particular player. So we had to go and get some iron-on numbers and put a little number 1 on it and stuff. And so
that's what he wants.
Tyler, I have what? Oh, go ahead, JD.
Well, I was just going to say, like, I'm from Oklahoma, so like I appreciate the family legacy aspect of it, but like you're 5. Aren't you supposed to want to be like a Transformer or a Ninja Turtle or like a Toadstool or something weird or even something cute like a teddy bear or a bag of Skittles, anything interesting.
I will say
He's
again,
just like, no,
the French national handball team. They are the Beatles of handball. What do people not understand about this? Tyler, I wanted to talk to one more thing at the top of the show, but before we do, tell them who we got on real quick because this is a big show.
Get around to that. Yeah, this is a long show. This is just to get you in. This is just to get people in the front door. If you stick around a little bit longer, not only will you hear more about handball regulations and Halloween costumes, you'll also be hearing from our friend Judah Smith. Oh, he's going to be here with us to talk about Churchome's apps. They have a new guided prayer feature. He'll be talking to us about what that is. Also, the director of Harriet, the new Harriet Tubman biopic, Casey Lemmons, is going to be coming on. She's going to be talking about her very powerful new movie that's coming out this week. We have some great conversations with them. So not only do you get some Halloween
French national handball manager Pepe Francois. What a show. What a show. The interview will be in French, and we will not be providing a translation. That's on you this week. That is on you because
I will be using the limited French that I've picked up in my 2 months here to conduct an interview with a fluent French speaker.
I mean, he's
the
Elvis.
Interesting conversation.
He is the Elvis of the handball world. So just deal with the foreign language, okay? Deal with the language gap. Yeah.
So that is all coming. Jesse, I think before we were chatting a little bit before we started recording here, and you mentioned that you'd fallen down a little bit of a own internet hole.
I did.
That you thought I'd be. And JD, you reacted with a lot of, you knew what he was talking about.
Yeah.
I do not. What's going on?
Okay, so I don't really know where this falls into the course of the show because we're already like 15 minutes in. We got 2 interviews today and we got feedback, so I'll keep this relatively short. But it's a Halloween show, cool. So I figured I'd make like a Halloween pop culture recommendation. Are you guys okay with that? We do a little relevant recommends.
Of course.
Halloween. Okay.
I can't wait.
I have gone down because I get this question a lot. I don't know if you guys do. Do you guys get the question a lot of what podcast are you listening to right now?
No one talks to me. So.
No, not a question people ask me.
Well, there are two. One is is exclusively about the French national handball team. Again, the podcast is in French. I don't understand a word of it, but from what I pick up, handball involves slapping at a ball. That's what I know. That's what I've picked up from this. And I've listened to about 27 episodes, and there are 3 hours each. The other podcast that I started listening to is called Oddball. JD or Tyler, have you guys heard of this podcast?
No.
I have not.
Okay. I have not.
So Oddball is a production of the public radio station in like the Jacksonville area of Florida. And I kind of stumbled upon it through some podcast recommendations. And anyway, so it's produced as sort of obviously like this, public radio NPR kind of affiliate doesn't have the resources of like a WNYC or what's the one out of Chicago?
WBEC or something like that.
That produced like all these, great shows or something like a serial, but it's in the vein of a serialized like 6-episode series produced by a public radio station. So documentary style. And it's perfect if you're looking for something that's like mildly creepy, but not like necessarily like supernatural or overly dark, but a very interesting mystery podcast. Check out Oddball.
Kind of
so
maybe eerie, a little eerie.
It's certainly eerie. So I will do a quick premise of the show, and I don't want to give too much away. But it's so back in the 1970s, there was this family that lived in this big, creepy mansion hidden in the woods outside of Jacksonville. That's actually now still hard to find. It actually kind of looked like a castle. It had like a watchtower and everything. A kid who lived there was walking around the forest land around his house, and he came across what looked like a giant, like a bowling ball size metal sphere. Right? He thought it was cool. It was just kind of like half buried in the ground, cleaned it off, brought it home. So a few weeks later, he has this in his room. It looks like a cool thing. Doesn't know what it is. He's tuning his guitar. He's tuning his acoustic guitar, and the ball starts moving. The ball ended up would follow members of the family around the house. You could put it on top of like a glass table, and it would roll right around the edge without falling off. It also had like magnetic properties. The Navy actually came and confiscated the ball for a while to try to figure out what it was and try to do experiments on it to figure out why it had these odd properties. Now, this drew so much national attention, this mysterious object that even the Navy couldn't figure out back in the 1970s, that it ended up causing some rifts in the family, and the family themselves has become somewhat of a mystery because they got all this attention because of this ball. Without giving too much away of the podcast, it is a deep dive into the family, the sphere itself, the research into what this thing is or was, and the mystery of whatever happened to the Betts. It's called the Betts sphere, and where it ended up. It is a 5-episode podcast. Very, very interesting. It's called Oddball. And if you're looking for a little Halloween listening,
that sounds cool.
Yeah, the Betts sphere.
I can't wait.
Yeah, it's very cool.
All right.
So,
JD,
you are aware of this topic, though. Like in our circles, people know the Betts sphere.
That's right. Yeah. When you host your own segment of the relevant podcast called Strange Happenings, you're required to learn about things like the Betts sphere. One of the things that's the most intriguing to me is that they felt like it was probably hollow, but yet they couldn't find any indications of like a drilling point or even a manufacturing seam or any kind of way. Because typically, if you were to make something that's hollow, you'd have to make it almost like an eggshell, and then you'd like seal the seam. The thing is completely seamless, there's like no craftsmanship indications, and yet you can tell that it's hollow. Its reactions to sound. They would say that it would. Jesse, you were talking about it rolling around on the table. They would say that at times it would like stop and turn direction and come straight towards an individual and then stop right before it reaches to the end. It's almost like it's like a futuristic version found in the past of a Roomba. Like it seemed to know where to stop, where to turn, how to like map out an area, because it would do like concentric circles until it would get to the edge and then go around. And it's really interesting. It's one of those fun rabbit holes that doesn't seem to provide too many answers. It's just weird.
Yeah. And that's what I've liked about this podcast, because this reporter has spent over a year trying to track down people who actually might have some knowledge about it back in the day, and tries to figure out what happened to this thing, because that's the other big mystery is no one really knows, like,
where is it now? Because
the family kind of has gone dark for reasons that were never made clear. So she goes into all of it, called Oddball, if you're looking for some fun, Halloween listening that's not overly spooky or supernatural. Check it out. It's called Oddball.
Sweet.
Obviously, we are going to provide you with all your Halloween spooktacular needs on this podcast.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
For those of you who still may have a little bit left in the tank for your Halloween week, I guess Oddball will provide you with a suitable substitute plan B. We're going to take a quick break, and then when we come back, we're going to check out Slices.
Good vibration, yeah. That's the positive vibes and we creating, yeah. The sounds that make you feel right, we keep it blazing, yeah. Forever shining this light, we keep it blazing, yeah. Boy, forever shining this light.
You're listening to Eternal Light featuring Chronix. It's by Free Nationals. At the beginning of the podcast, you heard Guts by Augustine. Now we're going to go get into Slices. JD, what do you got?
So for me, it's the Halloween edition. I had to find something that's like truly terrifying, truly, utterly horror-inducing. And
put the kids to bed.
Right, yeah, you just put the kids to bed. They don't want to hear the story because they're going to be terrified. This is really tales that are truly creepy and disturbing. I think it's fair to say that The Dentist is probably the most horrifying of the pseudo-medical procedures that we go through on a routine basis.
I have in recent years got up from a dentist chair in the middle of the procedure and just walked out of the office. That literally happened to me. I said, nope. Did I tell you guys this story? Sheila, have I told this story?
I don't think I've heard more than that.
Yeah, no, you've mentioned it, but not in detail.
Yeah. I went into a dentist office. It was like, I never have a dentist more than one visit because I find something wrong with what they do. I ended up finding one online that accepted my dental insurance, and I went there, and I didn't look up any Yelp reviews, which is a huge mistake. I walked into the waiting room, and it was like, this should have been my first clue. That I went into the waiting room, and it was like lawn furniture in there, like plastic chairs. Okay. When I went to they're like, oh, we just started your file. We'll go ahead. It wasn't on computers. They were actually using files and a file cabinet and pen and paper. That's when I knew this place probably isn't up to my technological. I want robotic equipment that is basically lulling me to sleep and essentially using lasers that my body can't even feel to clean my teeth. Right. So I eventually get led back to a chair, which looks like a chair from like a Saw movie where they used to or some like museum where they used to do dental experimentation on like prisoners or something. And like literally the office was so old that on the wall was like tooth cleaning tips from Jerry Seinfeld and Whoopi Goldberg, like a poster. like it was very concerning how dated even their pop culture references in this office were. So I'm sitting there and the dental assistant comes in and she says that the dentist is running late, but she'll start my cleaning. So we start and I keep looking around. I'm like, I'm sorry. You know what? I gotta go. And she was like, right now we have it. I was like, I gotta go. Just bill me. I'm leaving. And I got up and she's like walking out of the office with me like, why are you doing this? Why? It was a bad thing. So I'm going, the dentist, the proprietor of the dentistry place, I see him fly into the parking lot as I'm getting out. Okay. He's in his lab coat, like half putting it on. He goes back to the trunk of his car and grabs out a bunch of like clear milk jugs, like the plastic ones, like the 2 liter of milk jugs filled with strange blue liquid, and runs into the building. I'm like, okay, I got out of there just in time. I don't know what that guy was planning. I don't know what was in those jugs. I don't know why he's got them in his trunk of his car, and I don't know why he was running. So I don't go to the dentist anymore. They are terrifying, JD. So tell us why we should be even more afraid.
Yeah. So I mean, for me, that's one of the dentist is this terrifying, like not daily, but like regular experience that we all have to go through. And so like whenever you feel like a pain in your mouth, that it's like this omen of like, oh God,
like, oh no,
what is this going to be? I hope that it's just like food that I can pick out with a toothpick and it's not like an actual problem. Well, there was a 7-year-old boy in India who was having pain in his jaw. And at first his parents didn't think much of it, and maybe it's just a sore tooth, and they scheduled a dentist appointment, and the dentist, they actually started finding there was a mass actually growing like under his teeth in his jaw. And so they go in and they surgically remove this mass that was in there, and they open it up. Inside that mass was 526 teeth that were in the state of development. So it was.
That's not right. That's not of
it's
God.
crazy. You can
that doesn't
find
honor God.
No, right? Yeah.
But this is the bravest kid alive. He went in there on his own
seriously.
fruition. Like I guarantee you, this kid's braver than any of us.
Oh yeah, no, yeah.
If I felt the pain in my mouth when I was a kid, you keep that locked down.
Right.
You do. It's like, I'm not going to the dentist. No, I'll power through it. No one needs to know about that. And he walked in. That's facing your fears on Halloween. That's a lesson.
I know.
For all
Yeah,
of us.
he went in there and they removed it, and there was a little bit of validation for him because he was complaining about toothaches, and his parents were like, "Oh, it's probably just a little cavity or something." It's like, "No, it's something more. It's something more." And it was 526 teeth. The kid's like a shark.
Brave. And now, every time I have anything wrong, it's like, oh man, I probably got 500 teeth growing out of there.
Right,
Just
exactly.
great.
500 tooth disease
500 teeth.
coming at me.
Like I'm the
I
guy
heard
that
about
I
this.
still
I
have.
heard about this disease. Oh, you know what? It's a piece of popcorn. That's it. I don't think it's a 500 teeth, but it could be.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I'm the guy. I still have my wisdom teeth, and every time I go in, they're like, your wisdom teeth are growing in crooked, and they're like gonna probably rot out. And I'm like, great, then you won't have to remove them. This sounds perfect. Win-win. Like I would never be this kid that goes in, but you're right. Every single time now I feel a pain in my mouth, it's going to be like, dang it, I've got 526 teeth hiding right.
I won't sugarcoat it. The wisdom teeth removal thing it's tough.
Yeah, I haven't got mine out. They've been telling me for years.
Situation.
They said because I asked them one time when I was in college, I'm like, because they're really bad. They are basically growing horizontally, pushing your teeth and doing damage to your jaw. I was like, what's the latest I can possibly wait? They said it would be dangerous for you to wait until past the age of 30. I'm 36 now, and guess what, dentists? I'm on to you. I'm on to you. I'm doing just fine. Hold on. Something's gone wrong. This is so much worse than they warned me about.
I'm just hoping that by the time I actually need to get them removed, like the technology will be in an advanced state to where they have some magical
they can, like laser it out.
Yeah, or like some sort of like weird Star Trek transporter system that they just like transport them out of your mouth or something.
It's like Alka-Seltzer. You take a little pill and they kind of fizz up, and then you just swallow them. Yeah, it's just
sounds good to me.
Those tasted good. Yeah. Sure, that's what I'm waiting for. That's why I haven't gotten them out, JD. That's what I tell you. You guys haven't invented something that just like dissolves them magically and turns them into like delicious liquid? Well, I'll just wait.
Like $20.
I'll just wait till next year then. We'll calendar for next year. You guys work on that. And then I'll come back in and you figure out what was in those containers of blue liquid, because I'm pretty sure you're not supposed to put dental supplies in what is clearly old milk jugs. I don't even know if we rinsed them out. You know, I don't know what that
do
would
it. They tell you all the time that candy rots your teeth, soda rots your teeth. And here we have need of teeth to be rotted away into nothingness. Can we weaponize the like nerds or Twizzler situation?
Yeah.
And then just fire them at like a maximum capacity?
Is there a way to like soak just my wisdom teeth in like Coca-Cola? Like just those?
Just like a
teeth?
lethal amount of candy
Yeah.
compressed down to like you have to handle it with gloves like it's too much sugar in one place. You have to wear a hazmat suit to get it ready, but costs like $20. It's the
super
cost
concentrated,
of like 100 M&Ms.
Yeah,
Easy.
the super concentrated nerd powder. You know.
Just right there.
It's basically the candy version of essential oils. How they go and extract, or from what I understand about my opportunities to own my own business with this, how it works is they extract the power of plants and distill it into drop form that can literally cure any ailment with the magic of eucalyptus and cucumber oils, but it's basically the nerd's equivalent of that, just super concentrated. Yeah. So I think they can figure it out.
This is a great idea. Jesse, what's your slice?
All right. So this Halloween, Google has done something kind of fun. They have launched a site called frightgeist.withgoogle.com.
I like it.
So you go to this URL. And it will tell you, and it's actually a pretty cool looking site because they have like music, whole little background thing, very Halloween-y, kind of goes with the 80s vibe, like the Stranger Things, which is big this year. And it shows you what are the most researched costumes. So basically, these are the costumes people are looking up to try to be this year for Halloween. Now, I don't necessarily want to talk about the top because I don't find them very interesting. I look down into you can keep scrolling and scrolling and scrolling. And I look down into the hundreds. So I don't want to talk about the top. I want to talk about some of the ones that are down at the bottom of the list. Can anybody guess what the number one Halloween most popular costume this year is?
The most popular. Say it again.
The most popular Halloween costume this this year, according to people's Google research. Yeah, it's French handball legend Pepe Pierre. Yeah, obviously. The Beatles.
Is it Pennywise?
Of handball. It is Pennywise from the movie It. Very scary clown, which is pretty obvious because it's scary. It's probably pretty easy to make the costume if you do the face paint right. And
it's recent.
And exactly. The sequel came out. Number 2 is a timeless. Any guesses on Chandler? What do you think the number 2 most popular costume this year is?
Yeah, I don't know anything about.
You got to guess. Costumes. You got to guess, dude.
It's a classic.
It's a classic.
Spider-Man? I don't know. I mean,
Spider-Man's number 3, so that's not bad. Okay. No, it's witch. It's just a witch costume.
Okay. Just straight up, just a black robe, pointy hat.
Exactly. I'm pretty sure because you can just wear it every year. No one's going to care. Number 4 is like dinosaur. Then there's like a bunch of Fortnite characters. Okay, boring. Got it. Obviously. Of course. Bunch of nerd stuff fills out the top 10. Okay. I want to drop down. I'm going to drop down at number 54. And these are the ones deep into the list that I found the most interesting. Number 54 is EDM artist Marshmello. You got everyone, even if you don't know his music, you've probably seen him because he wears the big head with the marshmallow with the X eyes. Now, if I saw Marshmello, the EDM artist, coming down the street, I would just slam the door and say, "No candy for you, sir. Not in my neighborhood. I don't need generic EDM bro music on my cul-de-sac. Just get out." No marshmallows. Do not be marshmallows. Tyler, what are your feelings about Marshmello?
I don't have enough to have a take even. I would just say that was, I'm surprised. You said this is number 54,
which is pretty high.
That is pretty high. I feel like that would require a lot of, like, I would feel pretty lame and old if I was at a party and somebody walked up to me and I was like, millennial DJ. And they're like, yeah, which one? And I was like, I don't know.
One of the ones that wears some big stupid thing on their head.
I'd probably be like, oh, you're the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man from Ghostbusters. I get it. And they're like, no, I don't know. Old man.
I don't know. Listen, one of those DJs that wears some big dumb thing right on top of their head.
Is this some character in Euphoria? Is this one of those Euphoria kids? Are you one of those brats on that show?
Okay, so 54 is Marshmallow. 61. Yeah. This one struck me as because I didn't know this was legal, especially on Halloween, is police officer. Because you could be out there in a police officer costume just confiscating candy if you want. You know,
it depends on how good if it's like a kind of a goofy police officer costume or like, they're wearing like a
Reno 911 or something.
Like that could be one thing. But if you just look like a cop, then you could get into a lot of trouble.
Well, and this is the one night a year that you could pull off. There's an episode of Always Sunny, and I think it was like appropriated for the movie Cop Car with Jake Johnson, where they basically find a police car and just start impersonating police because they get so much power. If you were to get a police car, don't use it at any point except for Halloween night, because if you get in trouble, you can just be like, it's part of my costume, man. Like the police car I'm driving around pulling people over in and just speeding like a maniac around town is part of the costume.
They roll down the window and you're like, trick or treat.
so that's 61. All right, number 70. This one, I understand why, because he's back in like sort of the pop culture parlance these days. But it seems like a costume, I don't know how it would translate, is Fred Rogers. Because you literally just look like a normcore guy. You just look like a guy walking down the street with khakis and a sweater.
Oh, look, a Presbyterian.
Yeah.
Just a big cardigan. And the little thing. Yeah, I don't know how if you had like some old like makeup on, like some wrinkle lines, maybe I would get it.
And maybe like a dirty looking puppet in your hand.
I saw a picture of somebody going as Mr. Steve Rogers. So they had the cardigan and all that, but they also had the shield. So that's like I like those. I like the mashup. The mashup ones. Those always get me. Those are very creative.
Yeah. Number 94. This one's weird because I guess in parts of the country where like hunting is very big, but just deer. Like going as a deer for Halloween. It just seems like a very odd animal to choose. And it seems like
and that's another one that could be dangerous. Like if you're like, oh, hey, let's just cut through these woods right here to get to that other neighborhood.
If it's too good of a costume.
It's already dangerous enough. I already hear all these studies about how many people are at risk of getting hit by a car on Halloween. Yeah. You're basically doubling the chances.
You're just
by
like
dressing
stuck
as
in
a
the
deer.
headlights. Just
shortcut through the woods on Halloween night in a deer costume. What could go wrong? We just have to cross that highway. 152. I understand this one, but I'm against mixing holidays. It's just I'm a man of principle. Number 152 is Elf. I get it. If you have an elf costume, now's the time to wear it. But I don't agree with wearing that. I don't agree.
Yeah,
with
that's
wearing
weird.
You like a Christmas elf? Or like a
I think
Lord
the Lord of the Rings
elf.
I was assuming
like Buddy, like Will Ferrell.
I think it's Buddy the elf.
Yeah, that doesn't make any sense.
Okay, 179. 179 here.
You went really far down.
I went really deep. Okay, I went
item number 563.
Is there like a U.S. costume registry I'm not aware of? Like, are you supposed to call Google and tell them what you're dressing up as?
You haven't been doing that? Well, you might be in some trouble, my friend.
That's why I'm in France.
If a fake police car,
I'm on the lam.
If a fake police car pulls up to your house on Halloween night and tries to arrest you, you know why. No, they're doing it by people who search for so-and-so costume, and then they rank them, number 179 is Starbucks. So, but it wasn't clear if it was barista, because that would be pretty easy. You just need like that cool robe, and you need a beanie that's like sitting on the back of your head. You need cool glasses, and you need an attitude problem, and you can easily be a barista.
Right. Yeah.
You need a sense of superiority, and you need to, correct people's pronunciation when they order some manufactured drink that sounds Italian. That's all you need for that costume, Or is it like a beverage itself? Are you walking around in a big overpriced? The thing is, like the costume itself for that is very, very overpriced and disappointing. Or is it like an actual Starbucks building? I don't know. It was not clear.
Or there's a Starbucks. The name comes from a character in Moby Dick, right? So you could be like a whaler. That would be complicated.
Or to nerd up, you could be the character from Battlestar Galactica.
Yeah, that's
There's a Starbucks and battles the BSG.
Yeah, that's you sound like a barista right now. You're probably gonna go. You should probably go as a barista, JD, for Halloween. You don't have a costume. Just get a green robe.
I'll just be the third podcast host.
Listen,
that's what I'll be.
Just get a green robe and say things like that all night. It'll be fine. People know exactly what you are. Number 282. This was or 228. This was oddly specific. A hydro flask costume. So not just an expensive water bottle costume, but specifically the brand Hydro Flask came in at 228. Probably not someone who's going to be a lot of fun at the party is Mr. Hydro Flask. Finally at 385. Okay. By the time we're almost down to 400, every conceivable superhero, every video game character, everything that a kid would want to be for Halloween is long past. We're almost to 400. There are people dressing up as water bottles before anyone is even searching this costume. And it just confirms how much disdain I have for this character. At 385, again, you're more than 150 below Hydro Flask. It's Hawkeye. The only reason it is if you're going to a party with like 12 friends and they're like, let's go to the party as the Avengers. I'm Tony. I'm Black Widow. I'm Scarlet Witch. And they're just flying off and you're like, I'll be Groot. And they're like, already got Groot, man. Oh, Star-Lord. Sorry, he's taken. And it's just some ancillary character. What about the guy who helps Thor make the hammer on the planets? No, he's the Peter Dinklage character. No, he's taken. Like literally, you're like, I'll be Kevin Feige, the producer of the MCU. No. Rick is Kevin Feige this year. And you're like, yeah, all the way down is like, I guess I'll be Hawkeye. A 385 Hawkeye for popular costume.
We have a bow and arrow. No. I mean, you can just, all you have to need is a jacket. It's pretty straightforward. Not doing it. Man, it completes we need it for everybody.
His only power is an arrow. Tony Stark literally has billions of dollars. Like, yeah, I've said too much. So those are those popular. That's a rundown of the most popular.
That's a good. I went to France Comic Con this year to see what the French nerds are up to, and going through. By the time I got there, going through the bins of all the merch. I can confirm that by the end of the day, it was all Hawkeye merch. That was the only character that was clearance. The Hawkeye fans did not show up in full force in France and probably nowhere else either.
They literally can't give it away.
So I brought a slice as well this week. The host slice comes through. This was something that Jesse, I believe you brought to our attention, and something that I want to talk about because I think we all have we either all have something like this, or more likely our family members have something like this. We know somebody in our family has one of these. I'm talking about weird old religious art, which we talk about quite a bit on here. We talk about, the picture of Jesus, like as a football player, or a picture of or like some sort of like model of Jesus, like helping a doctor, like being behind him as a surgeon. You guys know what I'm talking about? That kind of kitschy stuff.
Oh, yeah, exactly. Yeah. Or Thomas Kincaid, Jesus-y thing. Jesus guiding with Trump's hand as he signs a piece of legislation.
I had a friend of mine who was a non-believer in high school, and we went over to another friend of ours whose parents were very conservative. And when we were leaving the house, the non-believer looked over and was like, "Dude, like your parents are real nice, but like, why do they have that weird picture of Bob Marley above the mantle?" And the guy was like, "No, that's a picture of Jesus laughing."
Oh, I know that one. Yeah. I know that one. Yeah. I can picture it. Yeah, I can see it. And I see the confusion.
Yeah.
Well, we're pretty dismissive of these generally, but maybe we need to wisen up a little bit. And here's why. So there was a woman, she's over here in France, where I'm at right now. She's very elderly. She's in her 90s. And since the 1960s, she had a painting of Jesus hanging on her wall, an old painting of Jesus hanging on her wall. So she was getting ready to move. She had an auctioneer come by her house to take a look at all the stuff she had and help her determine how much the stuff was worth because she wanted to get rid of it before she moved. The auctioneer did all of that, saw this painting, and suggested getting an art expert to take a look at that because he thought it might be worth some money. Turns out it was a good thing he did. This painting turned out to be a 13th century original piece of art called Christ Mocked by an Italian artist named Cimabue. An anonymous buyer picked it up for Jesse. I know you reported this. JD, do you want to take a swing at how much money this ended up fetching for this woman?
$2.3 million.
A 13th century masterpiece. Think again here because you're not even close. Gosh. Chandler, what's your guess?
50 million.
That would be, those would both be a lot.
Split the difference right down the middle. It went for 26.6 million dollars. Yeah.
This I went for. And when you see it there, they talked to the auctioneer who sold it. He told the AP, it's a painting that was unique, splendid, and monumental. Cimabue was the father of the Renaissance, but this sale goes beyond all our dreams. And if you look at the painting, we have it posted. You can kind of see that, like, I think if I'd seen this painting, I'd be like, yeah, that is pretty old. And I bet that would get a little bit. But I don't know if I would have pegged it at $26 million. I never understand that art stuff, though. I'm always surprised when.
Well, I have a hunch that the winners of the art are the Hobby Lobby people, because after they got caught for sneaking out some Bible artifacts, they went into art smuggling, and that was just the next step.
Listen. As soon as I read this piece, I rode over to the oldest people in my family's house, and they were like, why are you taking down that picture of Jesus in it's a very fine portrait of Jesus among a golf foursome on the links that says I'm always with you, watch your mouth. And I took it off the wall because it's probably worth millions. That's why, Grandma, just leave it alone. I don't have no idea. It's Jesus on a golf course. Who knows?
I remember a few months ago, I was having a good time. Jesse, you brought a picture to the podcast of Jesus, like sneaking his arm in for a heroin addict to, like, take the needle for him.
Well, not only that was a heroin addict that in the image, he appeared to be doing voodoo because of some weird, like, witchcraft stuff he had on the table. He was also gambling, apparently by himself. And he also had a loaded handgun sitting on the table. And on the doorknob hung a pair of nunchucks. That's how you knew this was a bad person in need of Jesus, because he had nunchucks hanging on the doorknob, just in case. That's art, people. That's art. It's subtle. It grips you right away. So I mean, that thing could be
for a
worth.
piece like that. 26 million would be a steal. If I had it. I can't afford things like that over here, but 26 million probably goes down to what, like 50 euros or so in the US at this point. I could probably make that work.
I don't know. You'll figure it out.
That's go that long away. Well, that'll do it for Slices. We're gonna take a break. When we come back, Judah Smith is going to be joining us. Listening to All in My Head by Neil Francis. Coming up, we're going to talk to Judah Smith, but first, Jesse's going to tell you about today's episode and how it was brought to you by the Called podcast.
That's right. So Called is our new church leadership podcast. If you are in church leadership or someone you know is in church leadership, I highly recommend checking out this podcast. Each week, we have a group of church leaders. Bianca Olthoff frequently joins us. We've had guests that include Kim Walker-Smith. We recently just aired an episode with N.T. Wright discussing what the modern contemporary church can learn from the first church. We have Bannon Liebscher talking about the art of the sermon. We've talked about pastors and mental health. There are so many topics that are covered in this podcast that if you are in church leadership, we highly recommend check out Called. It is available wherever you get your podcast.
Thanks, Jesse. All right, so Judah Smith is an author and the lead pastor of Churchome, a multi-site church based out of Seattle. He's also behind Churchome Global app, which recently rolled out a new feature called Guided Prayers. Jesse, you recently talked to Judah about the app and the vision behind it. How'd that go?
It was really good. I hadn't had a lot of experience with the Churchome app because it's an app that has a lot of different goals, but wants to provide a church experience in sort of an app form, not necessarily replace church, but to offer community and teaching and resources for people who might not have a local church or want this in addition to their church. But I hadn't had a lot of experience with it, and I was really interested to see how these guided prayers work because even when I first heard the name, just to be honest with you guys, I was a little skeptical of the idea, but then I actually did a couple. I did one on the topic of pain. And it was really moving. I actually listened to that one and did the guided prayer with somebody close to me, and they were actually almost in tears by the end of it. They're relatively quick. They're about 6-7 minutes long, but they're on topics: pain, joy, kindness. It was really, really moving. And so, but what struck me is sort of how, what was interesting, when I was thinking about it is really prayer is kind of this, it's kind of a weird thing. Like so much so, like, you're sitting there sort of talking to someone that, probably isn't audibly talking back to you. And it's so kind of confusing about what prayer can look like that even Jesus gave a guide to how we should pray in the Lord's Prayer. And so I wanted to ask Judah about how much the Lord's Prayer kind of influenced their thinking when it came to these guided prayers. And here's what he said.
The rhythm and flow of these guided prayers are based exactly on that. Jesus gave us this. I don't think it's so much, we're supposed to word for word repeat it, although that's an option. I think it's more of a guide. And so we kind of follow a 3-part guide based on the Lord's Prayer. And I think as Jesus followers, in terms of complicating prayer, I think oftentimes we complicate it because of several things. I think we have cultural ideals. I think we have childhood ideals. I think we have church ideals. And these ideals tell us that things have to be done a certain way. Whether or not these ideals are anchored in Scripture is a whole nother discussion. But oftentimes they're just passed down, these traditions and these customs that I think oftentimes as culture changes and the world changes and generations change, it can kind of get lost in translation and become something that's a little bit wonky and difficult to do and maybe don't understand why you're doing it. And so I think every successive generation affords us an opportunity to go, hey, what is the bathwater and what is the baby? We're not throwing the baby out, but let's reconsider some of the methods, some of the bathwater that might actually be kind of making this a little more murky than it needs to be. And prayer is, in its simplest form, is talking to God. It's just this raw, organic, authentic, in the case of King David thousands of years ago, it was like this primal cry. I mean, David was yelling and screaming and shouting. And so I find it to be a really exciting time to kind of reconsider what prayer can look like.
The other thing that struck me with these guided prayers is, there's music, there are moments of stillness, there are moments of reflection, and there's sort of this meditative quality to them. I know meditation apps and mindfulness and, these ideas are kind of big right now, pop culturally. And I wanted to ask Judah about that, how intentional it was to kind of give this meditative quality, because when you start one and you kind of have to silence your mind and focus on these prayers. And I was interested in his thoughts on just making these have sort of that meditative quality and value. And here's how he explained it.
It's so important, and primarily because the culture's crying out for it, but also because our heritage, the heritage of the children of Israel, the Jewish faith, and now the fulfillment in the Messiah Jesus and in the ways of Jesus are steeped in this idea of, I could summarize it in the Scripture that says, "Be still and know that I am God." The ability to grow still, the ability to be still, is something that I think we all need to practice more. And here is this extraordinary opportunity to take, ancient Scripture that is survived the test of time and use it as an opportunity to kind of focus in and be still. And there's something profound. And I will say that, the teacher always learns more than the student. I'm not sure if I'm the teacher, but by doing these guided prayers, even going into the studio and recording them, and I've had moments of just crying and moments of just profound, overwhelmed emotion as I'm filling myself to guide people through these prayers. And I'm going, whoa, like I need more of this. I need a lot more of this. And it's changing me. It's changing my wife as we have been practicing these and guiding people through. So if nothing else, I'm really grateful to be able to guide people, because it's really improving my overall, state of being and practice and following Jesus.
Finally, I wanted to ask about the idea of church home in general, because Tyler, I think you talked to Judah originally when the app first launched.
I did.
It kind of fell under a little criticism in the beginning, because it I think how it was originally framed is this something that is a replacement for church? Is it, what's the need here? And it's a very fluid app. It's very easy to use, and sort of the ethos of a lot of tech companies is they want to set out to solve a problem. And I wanted to ask Judah if that was sort of their motivation. Are they running Churchome basically like sort of a tech company that is trying to solve problems, albeit spiritual problems? And his answer to that kind of surprised me and kind of reassured me of what their vision and values are for it. So here's what he said about the motivations.
It really is the first church. It's the early Christians. It's the book of Acts in terms of, we see that they are daily in each other's homes. They're sharing meals. They're practicing, studying the apostles' doctrine, right? The teachings of Scripture. And so these tenets, of course, are essential to what, we're endeavoring to build here is not just a tech company or a platform, but we believe our biggest win is this concept of, which is very basic, but face-to-face. We're living in an age where face-to-face, we believe, from the data we're receiving, is getting lost. Even in some of our large auditoriums, which Churchome has large auditoriums where thousands of people gather, and we have a speaker and then a band, and even some of that method now we are seeing is not necessarily conducive for people to table together, to share a meal together, to weep together, and I've got friends in the science industry, and they're telling me the studies are showing that when a human get together face to face and open up and talk about where they are and what's going on in their life, the overall well-being, and of course, when it comes to following Jesus, the dramatic progress is astronomical. I'm reminded Moses records that the first question that God ever asked man is to Adam, where are you? And God knows where Adam is. But does Adam know where he is? And is Adam willing to articulate where he is and how he got there and what's going on in his soul? And so we're passionate as a community to use technology, buildings, programs, anything we can to lead people to this real, authentic relationship face-to-face with God, so to speak. He is invisible, but face-to-face with God, to this sensation that I'm connecting on a profound level with my God. And then, of course, it has to lead to I'm connecting on a profound level with a few close friends. And of course, we'll have an auditorium that seats 2,500. Well, everybody in that 2,500 seat auditorium can't connect on a level, but they can connect with 4 or 5 or 6. I'm reminding when Jesus goes to Gethsemane and he's in the most excruciating pain of his human journey, he has the 11 with him, and then he takes Peter, James, and John, 3, and they go a little bit further away. And it's with Peter, James, and John that Jesus says, I feel like I'm already dying. Will you guys just be here with me? Will you be present with me and watch with me and stay awake with me? And I think, Jesus is my hero. And I like that's being alive. That's being truly human, being able in your darkest, deepest, most bleak moment to have those closest to you and to be able to share those deep emotions and pains and difficulties. And I crave that, bro. I crave that in a church community on a level that maybe has not yet been discovered. But I think we got a chance of experiencing that more and more. And so we are pivoting with all the passion we can to ensure that Churchome is a space that leads people to a face-to-face connection with God and authentic, deep, affectionate friends.
Yeah, I definitely encourage people to check out the guided prayer on the Churchome Global app, because it was surprisingly moving, and there is a community aspect where you can kind of talk with others and share the experience with others. So check it out. It's the Churchome Global app.
Thanks, Jesse, and thanks, Judah, for joining us. That was Judah Smith. Next up, her Harriet director, Casey Lemmons, joins us.
Say what you want to, darling, I've got to
You're listening to Her Vacation by Goth Babe. So the new film Harriet, which releases this week, looks at the life and mission of abolitionist activist, key Underground Railroad worker, and American hero Harriet Tubman. The movie is directed by Casey Lemmons with a cast that includes Cynthia Erivo, Leslie Odom Jr., and Janelle Monáe. We recently spoke with Casey about the movie, got to talk to her what it was like bringing an American icon's story to life. Had a really great conversation with Casey Lemmons about this. The first thing I wanted to know is there have been infamously a lot of attempts to tell the story of Harriet Tubman in a movie, but these projects just haven't been able to get off the ground for a variety of reasons. Some practical, some just because Hollywood is very sometimes skeptical about how a movie starring a black female protagonist is going to play in the market. So I wanted to know, what was it about this project that allowed Casey to actually take it and make it work? Here's what she said.
Well, the producers had been trying for a long time to get the project made, but they had a really good approach, which was very viable and real, which was kind of, we wanted to make an audience-friendly movie about Harriet and really look at her as, a little bit of a black female action hero, which she was.
Yeah, sure.
So when you look at her like that and you say, this is an adventure story, we want to make an audience-friendly adventure story on Harriet Tubman.
So when you tell a story like this about Harriet Tubman, who was a very, very spiritual person, there's a lot of questions about how that is going to be portrayed in the movie. So I wanted to know from the director, from the filmmaker, how important was Harriet's faith in putting this script and this movie together?
I don't think you can tell the story without it, because everything that she says, you know what I mean? If you look at everything that she says, she so attributes her journey and her success to a higher power and her connection with God and in terms of even being instructed what to do. So I didn't think that it was possible to tell the story without it. Of course, I'm very interested in belief and faith and spirituality. You know what I mean? Yeah. I was very interested in her spirituality more than I didn't really see it as religious. You know what I mean? I saw it as more of a spiritual thing. But she was very confident in it, and she was very outspoken about it. And I don't think you can tell the Harriet Tubman story without it.
So that led me to some, based on some of her comments there, I was really curious about what sort of religion Harriet subscribed to, because if you know her story and if you see this movie, you'll learn a lot about it. She had a very unique experience with God, or a very unique way of expressing her relationship with God. So I asked her what she learned about that while researching the story of Harriet Tubman.
She doesn't talk very much about religion. She talks about a very personal, spiritual connection with God. You know what I mean? Like a direct communication. Yeah. She doesn't speak in Bible terms. It's a very specific relationship with God that she's having since she was injured very badly, hit in the head, and began to have these kind of seizures, that she began to think that God was speaking directly to her and guiding her.
The final thing that I wanted to know was what was it that motivated Harriet? We all know the story of Harriet Tubman, how involved she was with the Underground Railroad. It's easy to sort of flatten that narrative into just being a mission to help all people who were slaves become free. And I wonder if it went a little deeper than that. And according to her, it really did.
Yeah, I mean, the thing that was most interesting to me was that she was motivated by saving her. The first to free herself, which is such a human instinct, we want to be free, the desire to be free and to be free or die, which feels so fundamental, so American, but just fundamental to the human spirit. And then once free, to go back for your family. So she was motivated first by going back for her family. And I think that was something that it's a part of the story that I had kind of missed. and it can get very general. She wanted to save her people, but it was really through wanting to save her family, and I think that is also something that feels very relevant to me today. And is specifically something that was targeted by white slave owners, that African American, the enslaved people, did not have those sentiments because they had to believe and put that propaganda out there. They couldn't have believed it because mothers would wail when their children were sold away from them. Sure. They had to have seen the pain, but they put this propaganda out there that you should not have guilt about separating Black families, and the desire to keep your family together, the desire to free your brothers and sisters, I think that was so strong in her story, and that was something that I didn't really know that was surprising to me.
Man, I'm really excited to see this film, and it comes out this week, right, Tyler?
That's exactly right. It comes out this week. Really cool story. Sounds like it was a real challenge to get it made, but glad it's here, and glad that somebody who I think a lot of people know the name Harriet Tubman, but a lot of us just don't know a whole lot about her besides that. Great opportunity to check that out. So I hope you go and see this movie. That was Casey Lemmons, the director. Next up, your spooktacular feedback.
I'm happy to see with people around you, all the new friends. I just wanna be around, really wanna show you my positive outlook, my memory.
You're listening to Keep It Up by Howdy. We're going to try to keep it up. We're running a little long today, so we'll fly through these, but there's a lot of good ones. We asked you, we talked about our Halloween costumes at the outset. We wanted to know what your Halloween spooktacular Harvest Party All Saints Day costumes were. We asked, and you responded. Here are some of our favorites.
Holy Ghost Wiener Roast, please.
Trunk or treat.
Holy Ghost Wiener
Trunk
Roast.
Or treat.
Yeah. Well, Matt had a twofer.
Both strong.
He kind of teed himself up.
Yeah.
He teed himself up. The dark horse for most popular Halloween costume, a Chick-fil-A combo, #1 with a lemonade. Shout out to
Where's the Jesus is King? Jesus is King reference.
You my Chick-fil-A. Yeah, which we've talked about at length, and probably be the last time we ever speak of that album again. I've heard so many people, I feel like everything that needs to be said about Jesus is King was already said by everyone on the planet last week. Other than this Halloween costume, I'm good. I am good with it.
I don't need any more Kanye discourse in the timeline.
It seems like every conversation I've had for the course of like a weekend was people doing monologue think pieces about their reviews of Jesus is King. So, but the number one Chick-fil-A combo with the lemonade is very good. But he said, because that's a dark horse. Speaking of dark horse, another option could be Christian rapper Flame wearing a Katy Perry t-shirt.
It's a deep cut.
There you go.
It's a deep cut.
That's
timely. I like it.
That's a deep cut. Flame and Katy Perry, in court over that little jingle. So
fascinating. I sort of an anecdote here from Aaron, who said his mom and dad went to his old church's Hallow Him event. I like it. Dressed as Herodias, holding John the Baptist's head on a platter, which had a roughly human-sized cloth trailing beneath. There was a lot of fake blood involved. That's a very grisly costume for a church, for a family-friendly church soiree.
I don't know. I grew up in that era and in that kind of mindset where it's like, you can't watch a movie that has a cuss word in it, but it's okay to watch all the blood and gore and violence that you want.
Yeah,
so
it's like we can't watch Independence Day because there's a bad word, but Braveheart, where they pull a man's entrails out in front of a crowd of screaming onlookers, is like, well, that's better. It's
basically a sermon illustration. It's redemptive. Yeah, it's a redemptive film, and it's fun. It is fun. Like I've seen a kid's cartoon, like a David and Goliath one, and it's like, okay, it's kind of like, I get you have to like kill the giant and there's killing and kid stuff, but did you have to do the head cutting off?
Yeah.
Like, I know he cut the head off in the Bible, but this is for children. Like, I think they get the idea.
He's dead.
David slayed the giant. I don't think they need to see him behead the corpse as well.
You can yada yada the beheading part of this thing.
Did Larry the Cucumber when he was, or no, it was, I guess, Junior Asparagus. Did Junior Asparagus cut off the head of the giant pickle?
I'm trying to think. It might have been like Superbook or something. Like, it was
Superbook
like, I don't know.
Superbook did get a little violent sometimes. Superbook really, they pushed the boundaries for what was allowed in some of the.
That's what I'm saying. It's like, I know it's technically in the Bible, but I don't know if the children need to know about the beheading of the corpse yet.
Even the Bible itself, focuses on the slingshot part. And then it's like, oh, and then there was also, there was a little extra work to do. It wasn't just the rock that bonked him on the head. And it wasn't a lethal slingshot throw.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. Like, a slingshot is almost a comical way to kill a giant.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? It's borderline slapstick.
He's a giant.
Beheading, cutting a head off is a next level. JD, maybe this will be our last one, but I want to see what you think. If you and Holly, still need costumes, here's the last minute one. Yeah. Here's the last minute one, and you can evangelize the neighborhood too. That's the cool thing with us. Is all your neighbors who may or may not believe the Bible, you could at least give them a deep cut, because they'll be like, well, what the heck are you guys? And this comes from us to Michael, a couple's costume idea, the Witch of Endor and the Ghost of Samuel.
Oh, I love it. Yes.
Because then you can be like, by the way, I'm a Bible scholar, anything you want to know, even if it's ghosts or beheadings.
It's got lots of cool stuff. The Witch of Endor, how she rose Solomon's spirit from the grave, so that Saul could consort with him. Yeah,
I said months ago when the Witch of Endor first became the unofficial biblical representative of this podcast, that I thought a good Witch of Endor Halloween costume would be to involve Ewoks, who are canonically from Endor in the Star Wars canon. So you could just do a little Ewok costume with like a witch hat. Good. Or maybe a Harry Potter robe or something like that. And then the real Bible nerds would follow along. I don't think anybody in your neighborhood would get it. But if you post a picture onto Twitter.
Those 6 people online would really love that.
To be clear, I will say that there is an ongoing debate amongst Star Wars fans as to whether or not the planet that they are on is actually Endor or the forest moon surrounding Endor. So I'll just throw that out there.
Take it to the Star Wars podcast, nerd.
Yeah.
Where am I? What time is it? Oh, time to end the show, I guess.
And with that, it's time for this week's
editorial question of the week.
Earlier in the episode, Jesse was talking about this weird rabbit hole that he'd fallen down involving some sort of magical, eerie scientific ball and a podcast. Jesse, you fell down that rabbit hole. JD, you mentioned that you'd done that as well. We want to know what are some of the internet rabbit holes?
That's where my home is.
That you've fallen down. What are some of the weird Wikipedia pages, YouTube pages?
Yes.
Where has the algorithm taken you? You're sort of clicking down, and you're up until 2 a.m. all of a sudden, and you're like, oh, what? I had no idea this thing. We want to know what's tripped you up the most. You can send us some of your suggestions. Go ahead and send us a link as well. We might fall down those rabbit holes ourselves on Twitter at Relevant Podcast. Well, many thanks to Judah Smith. Make sure you check out that new guided prayers on part of the Churchome Global app. Also want to say thank you to Casey Lemmons. Harriet is out in theaters this week. Go see it. We want to support movies like this one. So make sure you check that one out. I think you'll have a great time with it. Also, make sure that you subscribe to the Relevant Daily. Relevant Daily is a podcast that comes out every weekday, brought to you by myself, where we cover what's happening at the intersection of faith and culture. And don't forget to check out our new podcast for church leaders called, and if you're not following us on Twitter already, do that at Relevant Podcast. And with that, we'll wrap it up. I'm Tyler Huckabee.
Chandler String.
I'm Jesse Carey.
John David Harris.
We'll see you next time. Bye, everybody.
Thank you for listening to the Relevant Podcast. If you like what you heard, be sure to leave us a review on iTunes. Check out other shows from the Relevant Podcast Network in the podcast section at relevantmagazine.com. And while you're there, browse exclusive podcast merchandise at our online store. make sure to subscribe to Relevant Magazine. Info is available at relevantmagazine.com/subscribe.
Of course I'm feeling depressed, trying to way we could use it. It's a cruel.
I'm doing just fine. Ah! Hold on! Ah!
Relevant Podcast Network.
Time is precious, and so are our pets. So time with our pets is extra precious. That's why we started Dutch. Dutch provides 24/7 access to licensed vets with unlimited virtual visits and follow-ups for up to 5 pets. You can message a vet at any time and schedule a video visit the same day. Our vets can even prescribe medication for many ailments, and shipping is always free. With Dutch, you'll get more time with your pets and year-round peace of mind when it comes to their vet care.
Go to Dutch.com to get vet care that is always there for just $92 a year.